Sorry, Chris. Lost my rankings. First and foremost, I want to say, Craig, you're the man. Nothing but love on this side. Craig and I are most certainly friends, so of course this is a friendly competition. With that being said, I'd want to go through and give value to anybody that is watching, of course. So what's really great about this is there's a difference between click-through rate manipulation, which is something that I utilize my own personal system, and there's a difference between organic click-through rate manipulation. All right. Both of them are effective. But let's go through exactly, because I noticed this, and this is the one that got a lot of buzz. I see a lot of people commenting on this, but what everybody did not know, and what Craig, of course, didn't know, is I actually saw this one 20 hours ago. So as soon as I saw this, I did not say a word. I got right to work. I've been working on and implementing a new way of a scaled version. I'm trying out some new techniques that, of course, I'm going to release to people that are in the training, because I have something new, a new scaled way to do it that's a lot more effective, a little bit cheaper, a little bit more effective. And what I want to do today is I want to cover first and foremost the organic that Craig used, and then I want to give you the tactics that I utilized to take back my ranking. So first, before we get into that, I noticed this, and it was all good and fun, but let's head back over here really quick just so we can get on the same page. We're going to go over here. We're going to open a new incognito window. Of course, we want a fresh search. We don't want any type of search history in there. So let's head on out to Google, and let's take a look at a primary keyword and a secondary keyword and see what was stronger, an organic strategy, and we'll cover that, or a manipulation tactic, which I implemented, that of course has to keep being ran, but there's specific clicks. There's a specific way that you need to click to manipulate, and I'm able to get the rankings a lot quicker. Now, this particular SERP, there's not a lot of factors going on, all right? So we're able to implement these types of tactics and get an almost immediate result. But let's take a look incognito. So click through rate manipulation. All right, let's just have a quick look here. And as we can see here, Chris Palmer is ranking number 1. Of course, I cannot beat and get number 0. SERP empires paying for their placement, which is mind-blowing to me. SERP Empire offers a service, but they're not organically ranking. They're paying for placement for click-through rate manipulation. Mind-blowing. But let's go on to a secondary term, CTR manipulation. All right, and these are the ones that I was primarily targeting, but I want to point this out. Craig has successfully taken all of the video spots wherein previously I actually had a spot. Now with his tactics, again, he knows what he's doing, all right? I use my own personal system, and I've advanced the system. I have something a little bit more potent now. But I want you to see this. He took all the positions. I used to have 2 videos in here. These were over here. But now he's taken all positions. But as you can see here, ranking number 1 in incognito. Now, I want to cover the organic strategy. All right, so get that out of the way. We took that back. Now, of course, this is going to fluctuate. But I want to go over how did I do this. All right, but first, how did he beat me initially? That's what I want to cover first. And then we're going to weigh them against each other. All right, so let's talk about this. So first and foremost, we know that we have a 40K, right, sub count YouTube, all right? So X amount of people saw the video, clicked, and went over. Now, let's see if we can get this text to be a little bit different colored, all right? All righty. We can't see that. All right, let's change the background. Briefly stick with me here. We're going to cover these strategies so you can implement them potentially in your own business. So 40K sub count, we were able to get organic clicks that way. We also know that it was shared on Facebook. And that got clicks and engagement, tons of it, a large subscriber count. Also, we know that LinkedIn, all right, we were able to generate organic clicks from LinkedIn. Very powerful, especially when you have 40K organic. Now, another implementation that I recognized through watching the video was a email list. Now, we cannot confirm a particular count for an email list, but let's just say, for instance, I really don't have any idea, but I'm sure that that generated some clicks as well. So far we have YouTube videos, we have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, and an email list to generate clicks. Also, I want you to take note of this, that the authority, right? Authority of the page is a lot higher than mine. So the overall authority of the actual page in the domain is a lot higher than mine. All right. As far as content is concerned, I believe that he has a little bit more content. All right. So we have the authority of the page, the LinkedIn clicks, the email list, Facebook, 40K subs, taking a look and clicking and viewing and you know, really playing around with the clicks. And then the last piece was we saw ads that were being ran and clicks were being implemented through advertising. Not really sure of the budget, but we know that clicks were sent that way organically. And then the last but not least, to get that true manipulation, we're not really sure of exactly the templates that were being utilized or the clicks that were being utilized. But, you know, Craig knows what he's doing. So I'm sure that he had it implemented a very particular way. But let's not forget about micro workers. All right. So for organic clicks to get that initial boost to knock me off position, all right, we have the 40K sub count YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and email list, organic clicks. Authority of the page is a lot more. Advertising, it cost a budget. Along with that, we also sent clicks through micro workers. This was an organic campaign. For a gentleman like me, you know, I'm looking for something that is, you know, I don't want to say that I'm a cheapskate, but, you know, I kind of am. All right. So with that being said, I want to go through exactly how was I able to successfully not only get back in position for this period of time. What did I implement? Now, of course, I'm not going to show current enterprise solution that I'm working on, that of course everybody in the training I'm going to showcase during a live video. I'll showcase exactly the steps that you need to take. I'll show you the new updated scaled version. If you're in the training, you know what I'm talking about, scaled. All right. I have a better way now. Now I want to go through exactly what I did in order to get back. Now let's just go back over here. And just so we can stay on the same page here, let's open up a brand new incognito window and just make sure that we're still on point. So we are here. Let's go to new incognito. All right. And we'll head over here to Google and let's just take a look here. So CTR manipulation. All right. I just want to double check and make sure that I'm still sitting pretty, which I am. All right. Again, these sites have a lot higher authority than mine. I have no links going to this page. That's a lie. I do have a link going to the page. Now, along with that, that's not my primary keyword. That was a secondary that I was going for. Along with that was click-through rate manipulation. Okay. Now we know that I did not use an organic strategy in order to take back my position. Now we know that this is a nothing keyword and we know that this is all for fun, but I just wanted to walk you through and give you some tips on how I was able to get back in position. All right. So let's get into that now. I really want to talk to you about strategy. So we know the organic way, you know, that took, you know, that was quite a bit of effort, but I want to tell you specifically some of the tactics that I utilized without showing all of the new system. All right. So let's go ahead and scroll on down the page. So we know that this is the strategy here that Craig used. So let's write Craig here. Okay. So let's go here. We'll turn active pen on, off, and we're going to click on this. And I want to click CRAIG. So this is Craig's campaign. All right. Very effective. Definitely worked. I have seen in SERPs where there are less factors or more factors that an organic along with a highly targeted manipulation. This to me is organic click-through rate manipulation. Organic. right? It's completely different than what I did. All right, so let's head on down here. Let me make sure that I'm even streaming. Did I even click the button? Alrighty. Yep, doing great. All right, now let's talk about what we did. All right, so we know that Craig utilized that system. Now I want to cover some of the things that I did in order to get my position back. Now, first and foremost, one of the very first things that I did was I utilized a very cheap bot. And what I was doing was I was sending bot traffic with very cheap shared proxies, right? Because again, we want it to be cheap. I actually went to US proxies or whatever. They give a free list. They update it every hour. I took those proxies, I stuck it into Supreme Traffic Bot, and I was doing very specific searches related to the target keywords that I was trying to pop for, along with my name. So Chris Palmer, associating it with a keyword. All right, so that was one of the things that I did. As soon as I saw that message, one of the things that I implemented was immediate, consistent search query. All right. The next step that I want to show you is I had a longer list here, but I want to show you this list. And when we're talking about click-through rate manipulation, again, it's all about the click-through. Now, I'm not going to break down, again, I've changed out a scaled version. I have a system that I'm working on that I want to offer to people. So I'm really working with a system, a more of a scaled solution. But I want to cover some of the things that I utilize. So first and foremost, how did we get here? Well, I will say this. I'll give everybody a few tips. All right. So one of the first things that I implemented was low bot traffic. All right. For specific, for keywords plus my name. All right, so that was the first thing that I did. The very next step after that, what I implemented was I went around to all of the places where I know that I already had a link. All right. Now there's something that is called session. All right. At the beginning of a session, this is when a search begins. Now the beginning of a session needs to start with a fresh IP. A fresh IP, that's part of the secret, I guess, the secret sauce. It's all about the start of a session and the end of a session. What did I do from the beginning until the end? So I'm just going to show you a couple of the things that I was doing in the beginning of the end of a session. But first and foremost, it starts with the IP range. All right. Now, as far as the country is concerned, I live in US, so it needed to be USA. All right. 3, was I need you to consider session. All right. So session, start, and finish. Okay. So in the beginning of a session, you have to think about what I call the customer evolution or a persona evolution. People think that for click-through rate manipulation that you need to search the keyword and then click on the listing. Now that may be effective as part of it, but that's not referring traffic, and it just doesn't fit the mold of a customer evolution. So what does? When you're starting with a fresh IP, with a fresh persona, and I'm doing a first search, and I'm starting my session with a fresh IP, logged in, one of the first things that I'm doing is I want to start looking and getting content ideas. Things like what is, how to, asking questions. This is part of the session. This is one of the tips. When we're implementing searches, of course, the best answer, right? When I'm searching words that are not the target keyword in a session, even if the words are not even on the page, I'm looking for my result to click on. Now, along with that is I set up other properties where the traffic comes from. And remember, every time there's a search implemented, there was a new session start and a new IP. All right. Take that into consideration. Make sure you note that. With that being said, I want to show you I had a list here. It was probably, I don't know. I would say probably about 10. I just scrolled up and erased a bunch of them. But some of the things that I did was all the properties where I was talking about click-through rate, and I had links out already, right? Such as this one. Here, I'll show you this, right? And this is a maps. So the referring traffic was coming from trusted properties. So this was one of them. And as you can see here, I went right to it. All right. And then boom, we're clicking through. So in the beginning and the start of a session, I'm starting my session. I'm looking, I'm searching. But along with that traffic, I'm also sending very particular referrer traffic, right? Again, from the start of the session till the end, it's very specific. So I was utilizing this. One of the other things that I was implementing was I was sending traffic through videos, but not, of course, not just any video. I was searching for and finding and utilizing videos that were pertaining already to my keyword. So this particular video is mine, and inside of here, if you take a look, you'll notice that, look at, here's the link. You see what I'm saying? Click through. Now, once on the property, let's say that we click on the property. When you get there, you don't just sit. Again, click through. Once we're actually on the property, of course, we want to scroll, we want to look, we wait a very short period of time, a little bit of time, but the next step needs to be a click. All right? You need to click to another page, but stay on the entity. Once that is done and you're satisfied, you want to end the session on your satisfaction. You get what I'm saying? In the beginning of a session, I start a fresh IP, fresh Google account. I log in. I'm inside the account. What's on my mind? I'm searching for click-through rate. Oh, click-through rate manipulation. How does click-through rate manipulation work? I land on the page. I get the best answer. What do? I'm done with that session. I start a new session. Obviously, I found exactly what I was looking for. The best answer. You see? When that is done enough times, especially inside of a SERP that has barely any ranking signals, boom! You see what I'm saying? So the moral of the story here is this. Session time matters. IP matters. Once I established, okay, we knew exactly how much traffic this page was getting. I knew that I only needed to increase only by a little bit more. But the type of traffic that you're getting, and I was also doing a couple, you can string URLs. So say like this right here, if I were to add other keywords to this and click, or inside of YouTube and a click, I'm sending signals that have to do with the primary and secondary and other keywords related to the query. What is, how to. The best answer is always going to be the site that you're trying to rank. It's not a matter of going to Google, typing in, click through and clicking on yours and clicking on yours. It has to come from somewhere. It has to start and originate from somewhere. And another one was inside of a session, what I did, I didn't utilize Craig's, but at the time the top ranker was, I think, Fat SEO or something like that. And what I was doing was I went onto his page to see some of the keywords that he was already ranking for that page. And what I was doing was I was searching for that along with his, but instead of clicking on his, I was clicking on mine. So these are just some of the signals that I utilized. Now, obviously, there may have been a little bit more to it, and also the system. What I'm currently working on is just a lot more scalable. I want people, because again, like if we head over here, we do an incognito, like this is something that I want to touch on. Both ways work, but what if you don't have a social following? What if you don't have an ad budget? It's more so about not the volume, but the quality of where it's coming from and what happens within the session. I hope that these tips have been helpful, but this is what has been really, it's been blowing my mind. So like say I go to Google and I pointed this out in the beginning and I do click through rate manipulation, right? Incognito. And I do a search. All right. It's not on here now. Let's try CTR. But it's just, it's interesting to me that the people that are selling this particular service already, that they're not implementing it and outbeating us. The fact that Craig and I can go back and forth quite fun and have fun with it, and the services that are providing this already, and it's not, you see what I mean? I just think that there's room for somebody that maybe can do it better. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any. I can give you, I'm on a tight little schedule here, but if you have any questions really quick, I'll be happy to answer them for you. And if you've liked the video so far, quick thumbs up would be super helpful. Craig, oh, okay. All right, Hayden, sounds good. I'm indexing for click-through rate manipulation. Cool. How am I doing? I'm doing good. What percentage of website okay? Spam score doesn't matter. When I build social ads on Facebook, Pinterest, spend the day in the traffic to pages or the website. Why not build social ads on Facebook, Twitter, and just spend a couple of quid on ad spend? No, you can. It's one way that you can do it. Chris, how do we start a new session? The start of a session is when you log into a fresh IP. You just log into the browser. This is the start of a session. Hey, Chris, what percentage of spam score on websites is okay for plans to get backlink from? Spam score doesn't matter. It's a third-party metric. All right. I think that that's up to risk tolerance, and I think that it's completely up to you. As far as, as far as the spam score, it's really irrelevant. What matters is what's the anchor coming in, what kind of anchors do they have coming into their site. I would really analyze the link, not just base it off of a third-party metric. All right. Obviously, I would try to keep that down, spam score, but I don't think it's something that I would base my decision solely after. But I mean, if it had a 1 or 2% spam score, not a problem. How much does this work for competitive words? Again, I think that as long as you are optimized around a keyword, it definitely shows benefit, and it really depends on how competitive of a term you're targeting. It's definitely a signal. And I think that there's a lot of applications other than just ranking pages. If you know that there's a particular product about to launch, you can really jump into place. If you know that, if you're trying to land a client that has certain particular things within the SERP, you'd be able to jump ahead of that. Like say there was something bad or negative, you'd be able to get above it. So yeah, 50-60% is too high. So I think that we went through this, and just to touch on something, Hayden, I noticed that you said I was owned. Again, incognito, and this will probably drop by the end of today, because I'm not still sending traffic. It might end today, it might take a week, but depending on what he's doing in the background will really determine how long I stay in position. But Hayden, this is for you. All right. Oh, here it is, fat rank. So yeah, right here. But that's not my primary, or that's my primary. Here's my secondary. Again, and then just so we are on the same page here, as far as links, there's zilch links coming into this property, and the content, if you take a look here, is very slim. You see? All right, so that's about it. I just wanted to cover that. I was able to regain. How long it'll last, who knows? Oh, Hayden, yeah, no problem. Made for fun, a fun little section. But everybody have a wonderful day. I just wanted to cover that. A couple little tips. It's all about the IP. It's all about the session. Dwell time kind of matters. It's all about where the searchers are coming from, what else was searched, and how you end a session. That is huge. If you can understand and grasp that in the beginning and the end of a search, where it starts and how it ends more specifically, the session has to end on the best answer. Because if you walk away and the session ends and it was on your property, then obviously the searcher has found the answer. I can't give any better of a tip than that. All right, so it's been an absolutely blessed day. Yeah, and when I say cheaper, cheap is it's cheaper because of the resources that you would have to utilize within the scaled. I've just found a little bit better ways to do it. I was just introduced to like a calendar thing. I asked everybody's input. I'm going to get everybody together so we can go through some questions. To the people that are within the training, I want to showcase some new findings because I've been doing this and learning. I put together the training, walked everybody through it, how they could do it. But of course, I've been actively learning. So I will share with the people that are in there with me, of course, what I found. All right. Yeah, Jewels. Yeah, for local, 100%. That's what it was for. I get a lot of questions about affiliate and everything. Really, the only stuff that this was obviously organic, but this is a zero term. There's not a lot of signals at play. It just goes to show that it's definitely a signal. And it doesn't matter the authority of the page. Now, obviously, my page is tuned for click-through rate manipulation. Right, it's the on page is on point, but I wouldn't say that this is a high quality page, but the SEO is on point. Like I didn't even fill it out. I just did what I had to do. All right, so yeah, and that's another one is where it's coming from, the traffic, but the session is so important. Like that is it. If you're in the training, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But do you recommend I wait? Trent, yeah, you can, once you get all of the information, then you can make your decision, it's up to you. Good point. How many emulators do you need and over how many days to go to effect? Well, I think that you only need, I think you have to be selective with the emulators. What I show in public, is public, what I show in the training may be a lot different. So I would be very careful if you're just going to go grab an emulator that maybe you saw me clicking with, or maybe of one. I would be very selective of how it's set up. I would just be careful. And watch the amount of clicks. I would just be very selective there, Yaniv, okay? And to your point, you can utilize one. It's not about the emulator. All right, so moving down the list, looks good. Thanks, Chris. Would it be time to start adding backlinks? No, I'm not building. My site is for information, for training, and as a contact to get in touch with me for consultation. Coming up, I've, a couple of the guys that I do work with, like I mentioned in the past, I only work with very select. I have 9 clients. Actually, it's down to 8 now. Particular people that I work with, but it's steady. Travel clubs, timeshares, amongst a few others that are mixed in there. But obviously I need services. And, I have some services, and I have my good friend, my good partner, Eric, that helps me. I'm thinking about putting together some select services for people. But thanks, Chris. Those your trainings have an affiliate. Yep, I do offer it. But you have to be signed up, and I don't just give it to everybody, just select people. If you sign up for the newsletter or if you've gotten trainings with me before, the stuff that I do is kind of private, I don't go mass, I don't run ads, I don't, it's very, private. The stuff that I teach is not, it's not mainstream by any stretch of the imagination. So, Yanniv, oh, cool. Yeah, well, you'll get in there. I think that you'll find all your answers, Yanniv. So it's been a pleasure. I don't want to ramble on. I answered all the questions. It's been an absolute pleasure. I just wanted to showcase that for you if you had any questions. Also, Craig, checkmate, my friend, and have a blessed day, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.